Good evening, televiewers. Welcome to today's edition of Prime R. We this evening are going to be looking at ways to survive a relationship when feelings and sentiments for a spouse or another partner die. Do you sit and feel nothing for your partner as a man or as a woman? Have you had opportunities and moments when you think that a relationship has to be cut off either for the man or the woman, and then you see what either the man has done or the woman has done and work so hard, fight for the relationship to survive so that the two of you can fulfill destiny? And even when things are not moving, at what point should we call it quit because things are not working for the two of you is going to constitute our core for discussion this evening with Apostle Alfred Esinge, who is a regular panelist on our Tuesday editions of Prime. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, Reverend Ken. I want to greet each and everyone out there who is taking the time all the time to watch us and to, talk about the good things we're doing. Thank you very much for appreciating our services rendered to you, and also appreciating you for always taking out your time to listen and learn about what is happening. So this evening is another time for you to learn something here.
We also in the company of Rev Tatoh, who is a regular on our Tuesday editions of our Prime. Good evening, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo. Good evening to you. I want to greet and celebrate Apostle Esinge. We are glad to be in the studio again this evening. By the grace of the Almighty God, we believe we are going to have a wonderful time to share again this evening on issues touching on relationship. We want to also greet our viewers who are always there. We are here because you are out there viewing, and we pray that as we share this evening, not only are we going to share issues that are going to be a blessing to you, but we pray that while we are even sharing, God in His magnanimity will be healing relationships.
We also are going to be having contributions from the Northwest Regional Capital Government through Mrs. Asanji Yvette, who is on standby with lots and lots of contributions for us this evening. We hope that she's also going to help to bless our relationships and marriages. Apostle Alfred is saying here, can feelings for a partner, a husband, a wife, can it actually die?
Every other day these things are happening. Every other day. And there's actually a period in marriage where people have accepted that that particular feeling doesn't work. That's why they said you're not going to enter into marriage just beginning or believing more on your feelings or a particular attachment that you have for someone. There's going to be a time where that feeling is not going to be there anymore. That attitude of love is not going to be there anymore. It's just going to be something like reason that is going to sustain people. So actually, there is this particular period in relationship that is a normal phenomenon. But in other cases, there are certain factors that promote this particular feeling to disappear, especially for those who entered into a relationship without thinking, those who entered into a relationship with their emotions instead of their heart or their mind. Those who entered into relationships using their physical understanding and not try to understand what the spiritual realm thinks about relationship. A lot of them get to a point where they are stuck because that feeling dies. That erotic feeling dies, especially maybe you've had sex with the person, where you've gone into sex relationship with the person, and it means nothing again to you because that was your primary goal you wanted to get. So that feeling disappears, and you see people trying to call their friends each or every other day and try to ask them, why are you not picking my calls again? Why don't you have time for me? You don't call me like before, and something like other. We always hear things like this. They no longer talk to me again. He spends months not talking to me. He spends weeks not picking my calls, and so on and so forth. It's the period where the emotions have disappeared. It's a period where instead of them to feel something good for you, they instead feel a repellent. They want to feel, they feel something bad about you. They see you like a problem. They see you like a setback. They see you like someone that does not produce anything in their life. These things happen every other day, especially those who began their relationship with sentiments, with feelings, with an erotic environment. Maybe because you saw her pants and you felt that, oh, this girl is a wonderful girl to be with, or you saw her hips and you say, no, this is a wonderful person to be with, or you saw especially these girls of today that are wearing those kind of dresses that are so tight on their body, and then you look at it, you say, wow, I want to be with this girl, with that necessary understanding that relationship or marriage goes beyond what you see. There is a time where what you see does not appeal to you. I'm talking like these. Many marriage people understand this thing I'm talking. Those in relationships, they understand what I'm talking about. There'll be a time where this person will even dress naked and stand before you, but it means as if it's like you have seen nothing. It doesn't mean anything to you. There are times again that particular spark comes up. When that spark comes up, you see them fighting again as if that's the first day they entered into that relationship. You see, a lot of things have been responsible for that, especially in cases where women put to bed, they begin to divert their attention from the husband to the child, and that emotions begin to go away. And now, so some people do not also understand that lack of communication in relationship or marriage produces this particular setback or take away the feelings that comes with words. I tell you, there are certain emotions that are attached in communication. As you communicate with people constantly, there are certain emotions that are attached to words that come to people. Let's talk about that as we go forward.
Okay, let's talk about that as we go forward. Apostle, no, you are not Apostle, Reverend. Yes, that is Apostle Ambe's position. Yes, is it normal to fall out of love with a couple? Is it a normal phenomenon that your wife feels nothing for you, or that you feel nothing for your wife?
The issue is that, Mr. Leo, love brings two people together, but love does not keep a marriage. And that is one of the things that people don't understand. What keeps a couple together is commitment to the decision you people made to get married to one another.
And not this feeling thing.
Not this feeling thing. Feeling is in fact, it's a very light factor. It's not an authoritative factor that can keep a marriage together. Yeah. As Apostle Asanji has said, there are many reasons for which at one time or the other, a couple will feel, in fact, the connection, the sentimental connection will not be there. It's very normal. The only challenge is when it is protracted. When it begins to delay for a long time, that is where it becomes a call for concern. There are moments where, for one reason or the other, and especially with the female folk, they like building impressions a lot, pretty much. They like building impressions. And when you build an impression which is not positive in relation to your spouse at a given point in time, the tendency is that your reaction towards the person will start having a kind of shaky perspective. But when you have that kind of positive impression towards the person, at least the spark will remain. But when you think, for example, let's take for granted a lady saw in her husband's phone maybe a kind of SMS, or discovered that he made a kind of call and does not have details, and begins to feel that this man surely is having a call with an ex, or with a side chick or something. The impression at that time is going to be negative, and that is going to cause the sentimental attachment at that time to be weakened immediately. And when it is weakened like that, there is a great work to be done in order to have the spark come back again. So when people think that love is what keeps a marriage together, it is because they have not understood that people who ended up having a divorce is not because they didn't love one another. They actually love one another. They were in love indeed, really in love. But the issue is that love on its own, love as a standalone, is not a factor that determines marital bliss or marital success. It must be fueled with commitment, that day in, day out, the vows you made or the promises you made to one another before the marriage, you go back, you revisit them.
Oh, he has not sent me flower. He has not done this. That is the Romeo and Juliet type of love. That is what many relationships are built on.
Yeah, those kind of gestures, they have their place in a relationship, but they are not a pillar. They are not one of the pillars that you can say this is what holds the relationship together. As long as you do all of those things, but there is no commitment, you see, there is going to be a kind of in and out movement in the sentimental attachment of that relationship. But if you two of you, after everything, there is a commitment to the fact that I decided to spend my life with this person, I decided that the rest of my life I'm going to spend with this person, you two of you are going to, you know, be able to get bonded when those kind of moments come, when they you know, the undulations in sentiments. They will always be there. That's the truth. There is no, in fact, there is no gainsaying. They will always be there. Will be moments where you feel like, you know, if you ask many people who are happily married today, they will not, in fact, they will tell you how many times they felt as backing out. But what kept them in the relationship? Not sentiments. Sentiments are just, in fact, they are just another thing in the relationship. But they come and go. They come and go.
It's just like feeling that times that you're in a good mood.
And sometimes you're in a bad mood. You can't even explain why you're in a bad mood.
Yes.
That is how it is. In relationships, there will be some moments you don't really know what the matter is. You know, you will see a woman with feeling withdrawn from the relationship, but she can't really say what is happening to her. And especially when they are in their month-end prayer kind of stuff, you know, there are sometimes those mood swings will come in, and if you are not careful at that time, just a word can cause a kind of havoc that you won't even be able to repair in a lifetime.
Okay, let's move over to Bomen, the Northwest Regional Capital, where Mrs. Asanji Yvette is going to be telling us the root causes of why feelings suddenly die either for the man or the woman.
Mr. Leo, good evening to you, good evening to my co-panelists, good evening to our televiewers. Special greetings to my Bayam Salam women, the Bayam Salam women at Food Market. They are wonderful mothers. I'm sending special greetings to them. Mr. Leo, we're talking about when how to live with somebody or how to live with your spouse when feelings and sentiments die. I always like to start, you know, solving the problem from the root cause of the problem. What caused those feelings to die? Because sometimes if we don't look at the root cause, we solve the problem, we are solving it temporarily. It's going to, you know, come back again. Maybe the second, the third, you can name it. So we try to avoid, you know, the recurrence of the problem by looking at the root cause of the problem first. So let me start by talking about maybe some of the things that could cause feelings in a marriage, feelings in a relationship to die. I start with cheating. This is something that kills emotions. It kills feelings. It makes you emotionally cold. When your spouse cheats on you, worst of all, repeatedly, there is no way you can say that, you know, those feelings will stay in place. Cheating is painful. Sometimes people begin to wonder, why are you so concerned about me having another relationship or so? Every relationship or love comes with a little bit of jealousy, positive jealousy. You can't love someone and be okay to share them with any other person. So when those feelings of jealousy comes up, it's normal. You have to, you know, feel, you don't have to give your body to someone else. So cheating is one of the key things that kills emotions. It kills feelings. Once cheating takes place, if you're not careful, you know, the trust is broken, but not just the trust. If you're not careful, the emotions that you've had for your spouse might not come back in equal amount, or it might take a long time. And it depends if your spouse actually changes. If they don't change from that behavior, if they keep repeating it, if they keep cheating on you over and over, there's possibility that there will be a day that those feelings will be completely dead. I mean dead as in, even him touching you, you don't feel anything. Nothing. Okay, so cheating kills feelings. The next thing is domestic violence. Let me not just say domestic violence, but let me say violence in general. It could be psychological violence, abuse. It could be domestic violence. It could be verbal abuse. Such violence or such abuses actually connects directly to our feelings. It kills us. It kills us. So that's one of the key things that also kills our feelings. Unresolved conflicts. Sometimes it's normal for couples to have conflicts and they're like, just let it be. It has passed. It has passed, but it has not been properly resolved. So if you want to leave your relationship, your conflict in your marriage to be like, just let it be, since it's something that has passed, you will be accumulating, you'll be accumulating grudges, you'll be accumulating conflicts. You might be okay with it, and let me say this, men always do this. Men are people that, okay, they can quarrel for 1 minute, the next minute they're fine. They leave everything behind them and they're good to go. But women don't do it that way. Women, to a woman, if you have not properly talked about it, you cannot consider it resolved. If you have not properly handled it, handle it to the way that she feels okay, you cannot consider that problem resolved. So most times, unresolved conflicts kills emotions. Poor treatment. When you treat your spouse poorly, it's like they mean nothing to you. No matter the love that they have for you, those feelings will eventually fade away. You can't be somewhere that you are not valued. You can't be somewhere that you are not prioritized. You can't be somewhere that, the person constantly kills your self-esteem. Before you know it, the feelings that you have for that person, it will drain. It's going to fade away. So I just wanted to mention some of the key things that actually takes away feelings or kills feelings.
She's enumerating the things that one may do to kill feelings either in the man or in the woman. But are these reasons enough to kill feelings and love for one? Are these not also just factors that may be used to justify why feelings are no longer there? Because we have women who would live with men who are core cheats, but they will be there forever. Same for men. Yes, who will be there? You have she talked about beatings. We have Very people who beat their yes.
Very correct.
Can we really explain why love dies? Is it not because if you were to get into a relationship, say on the basis of this guy is rich, this guy is this guy is this, so once these things are no longer there.
Let me list some of the genesis of relationships and what happens that it eventually gets to a point where people no longer feel for each other. Now, most people begin a relationship without actually knowing themselves, without establishing maybe some bonds, some understanding about each other's temperaments, characters, and other things. So many of them begin with emotional attachments. They begin with maybe erotic attachments. They begin with the sex drive. They begin maybe with that time when their body was not good or okay. Sometimes you may enter a taxi and then you sit beside a lady and then there is that conduction, that current that passes through, and the next thing you do, you take a phone number, and the next thing you see, you are sleeping with her, and the next thing you see, she's asking for credits. And the next thing you see, she's asking for withholds and all the like. And then you get into a relationship and you finally see that you entered into a relationship without knowing actually who that person you met was. So when they start asking or placing demands on you, you see it as a problem and you begin to cut off from such relationships because you began with an emotional attachment without actually having an understanding of what this is all about. A lot of people get into relationships without actually taking time to establish the foundation of the relationship. Every relationship should have a foundation, and that foundation is proper understanding of the person you are getting into a relationship with. That foundation is a proper understanding of what love is all about. That foundation is a proper understanding of where both of you are heading to with this particular relationship. A lot of you enter into relationship without actually defining terms, defining situations, defining conditions. You have no definition of what you actually wanted from that man or from that woman. So you just entered into it because you were told that it's good to have a boyfriend or it's good to have a man to marry you, because most girls are attracted to marriage now than to have a spouse. That's it. They're attracted to marriage. They will just want to marry. Anyhow we want to be, let them marry. At least let this year not pass without them getting married. So anyone that comes for marriage, whether there is love, whether there is what, they bear it and go into marriage. And all of a sudden you see that when they begin to see the other side of those people they entered into a relationship, it becomes a problem. Now, Mrs. Asanji just talked about, the various attitudes of men towards women, or towards women towards men, that makes them to turn off and then not loving again. Unfortunately, some women are more attached to a man who beats them well. Yeah, there's some tribes like that. When you beat her well, she said, "My master like me because it look into my things." Unlike the others that are going to cut off, say, "My master don't get time for me. He doesn't check anything about me, so I don't care whether he does what or what. It doesn't concern me," because that feeling is not there. Now, some other people are tuned on. They have different ways they are tuning on into a relationship. So it now comes to a point that the issue of emotions dying has nothing to do maybe with the behavior of people. It rather has something to do with the foundation of that relationship. That's why you will see a young girl will be beaten on the road, and her hair will be dragged by this boy, and she will touch her, and then the next minute or tomorrow you see them on the bike going together, or you see them moving on the road together, even with those scars on her face. What does that mean to you? It means that emotion doesn't just go like that, especially if they had a foundation which took a lot of time to prepare that particular relationship. I want to tell you this truth. A lot of people are missing it, especially church people. Church people don't have time to prepare for relationship. All they do is they prepare for marriage. They are preparing for wedding. They are preparing for the day they are going to go to the village. They are preparing for the day they are going to go to court. They are preparing for the day they are going to start giving birth to their children. But they never have a solid foundation, of relationship. The few who even try to establish it enters into sex, and sex spoils that particular mood and makes the guy to see you as a cheap person that they cannot go through. And maybe with the counsel of the pastors and all the others, the boy may finally want to pull through in that particular relationship, or the girl may want to finally pull through in that particular relationship, only to end up realizing that I was getting married to a man who doesn't have what it takes to be a husband, or I was getting married to a woman who doesn't have what it takes to be a woman. So the foundation of every relationship is that which keeps your emotions and your feelings and everything you have in a relationship going. How did you start it? What were your values you attached to it? That is exactly what is going to sustain you with time. And then there are relationships that have covenant attached to it, and there are some that have what we know as soul tie. If they have gotten to the point where they are into soul tie, emotions don't die easily, because they will get to a height that nobody will expect it. We're going to come again, and we're going to tell you a lot of things that are going to help you, especially when you have gotten to the point where your emotions are dead and you don't know what to do in that situation, in your marriage, in your relationship, or whatever. Some of you started wrongly. You can correct the start. You can set up a foundation that will help you to get a better marriage tomorrow.
Okay. The foundation is key word from what he just said. Reverend, now, when we talk about this engaging into a relationship for the man or the woman, should we start also factoring in the possibility for these periods when we no longer feel for one or one another? Should we already start saying that there are possibilities where we would live with our wife for a week or 2 months without actually receiving the expected love? Because there is this tendency that many persons think once you are married, the love that we see in movies expressed by husband and wife has to run through from 1st to 31st.
That is a daydream. But the truth is that rather than focusing on the fact that there will be moments of sentimental drought, it is important to focus on the pillars that make for a successful and blissful marriage. That's what is really more important. Mr. Lo, there's something I want to say, and which I have been very, very uncomfortable with when it comes to the male entity as far as these relationships are concerned. Now, Apostle Isinga has said something very important, that many people go into relationships without the requisite preparation, which is very serious. It is not even because they lack the forums to get this education, this hands-on education. There are people who have been listening to these talks that have been on TV for a very long time. Some have attended seminars, some have read, but it's like the society has gotten to a point where people end at head knowledge. They know some of these things, but taking the commitment to put them into practice has become a problem. Pastors have preached their stomachs out, have preached their intestines out, but people keep doing the things which are contrary to the same things they go and hear in church every Sunday. So these are the kind of things that I want to even talk about a little. This issue of preparation, the male entity, especially the average African man, has had the impression that people who are supposed to prepare for marriage are women, and the society has made it a woman's thing, that women are the ones who are supposed to attend seminars, are supposed to be trained, are supposed to do this. You see, when a woman enters into marriage, there is that tendency that saying your mother did not train you well. Scarcely will you hear a man being addressed as somebody who was not well trained by the father. So when you see this kind of things in relationships, somebody's daughter will get married to a boy, will take the things the boy has been given. The shit will be taken for a long time. The lady is going to bear. At a certain point in time, her back will be on the wall and she will start reposting. And the worst thing is when your wife's tears are no longer seen. If your wife has cried for a long time and her tears are no longer flowing, you have certainly taken her to a danger zone. You have taken her to a red zone that you are going to regret in that relationship. So men should avoid having this kind of mindset they have, behaving as if they did women a favor getting married to them. You never did her a favor, or if I thought there was a favor, it is a mutual favor. Men have done so much of harm to women in relationships. I know men are already saying that women are also doing their own, but I want to talk about the law of proportions here. Many are the women that are suffering in relationships as compared to men. You see, a man will be in a relationship with a woman and then is cheating on the woman and expects the woman to bear. When it is like that, the woman's sentiments will be, there will be something, there's going to be a weakening mechanism that is taking place. At a certain point in time, this lady will no longer want to continue to take your shit. Either she will look for a man also and begin to go out with, which we don't advise. Please, the women listening to us, we don't advise it. Or the woman is going to feel withdrawn, and if there are children in the relationship, in the marriage, the woman is going to concentrate on the children, concentrate on having her friends. You will see a woman will be withdrawn from the home, concentrate on Lord's ex-student association, concentrate on Happy Women's Association, and she runs from one cultural association or to social association to another to distract herself, because she has nobody who is going to keep her that kind of company she wants. Women are emotional beings, more emotional than men, except for men who are of a kind of temperament. So they need this attention. They need men who are going to keep them. So when you don't keep them, when you are withdrawn from the house, you leave work, you go and you drink until you are coming back at 1 a.m. tipsy. What do you want this woman to do? Very soon she will get used to, because in the early days she will cry because she has nobody to stay with. She has nobody that is going to keep her company. She has nobody to talk with. And then at a certain point in time now, she will watch all these novellas and watch the films, and then when she gets tired with it, what will be the next thing? Very soon her sentiments are going to be weakening. And when it's that way, the man should know that you are entering into a red zone with that woman. And I want to say that women have the tenacity, the resistance in relationships more than men. Men are only multi for nothing. Women bear things more than men. They can bear pains more than men. They can cry, they can be expressive. But when it finally comes to a point where a man is touched in a particular area, men are going, in fact, they will cry. Men like that, as you see them, when you can easily cheat on a woman and she takes it, but when you cheat on a man, men don't take it. Men are very resistant to it. So what I'm saying in essence is, men should avoid the aspect of behaving in relationships as if they did the woman a favor marrying them. When she's complaining about certain things, give her a listening ear, because she is complaining today. Tomorrow she will get to a point where she no longer complains, and that will be the worst thing that is happening to your relationship.
Yes. At what point do you feel that you are falling out of love? Either so that you know what is happening to you, or for your partner to also start reading that you are no longer into this business, this love business.
Yes,
what are some of those things that?
Yes, a lot of people have different judgments towards assessing when they are falling out of love, especially if they had a parameter for love. They had what they judged to be love. They said, he was calling me all the time. That's one of the things I always tell you. He was calling me all the time, but now he's not calling again. Now he used to greet me and look into my eyes. All of a sudden he is looking somewhere else. It means he's guilty, that something is wrong somewhere. He used to visit, he used to come around, he used to, he used to even come around. He used to like my parents. He used to even visit our homes, but he's not going there anymore. My parents don't like him anymore. So I just feel that he is also giving them a reason why I should hate him. All of these are some of the things that are coming up, and especially some of these women that have just given birth to children, and then they thought that the man was not kind enough or loving enough, and they now divert that attention of the husband to the children, and then the man also said, okay, since my wife doesn't have time and maybe the baby is there, let me go out and look for something to console myself. In a bid to console yourself, you find another emotional attachment with different people. That is exactly what is happening. A lot of people, in a bid to go to search for something, a comfort at one point in time, either because of a quarrel at home, either because of a rejection at one time, either because of a hurt at one time, you go out to check for where you can get comfort. Not necessarily because you wanted to sleep with another woman or another man. You did not really have that intention to do that, but because you went out there, and maybe sometimes you express yourself to the other person, especially the opposite sex. Now they begin to give you the attention that the other person in the house may not have been giving you because of the responsibilities and other engagements they have. Now this one you just met does not yet have that responsibility over your life, so they have enough time to give you attention. And the next thing you find yourself doing is start killing that emotion at home and finding that you've met an angel, only to discover that angels are not found on earth. They are in heaven. They're in heaven, and we're going to bring them down if we connect our relationship to the realms of the spirit. Let me tell you something. Relationship is very spiritual. If you don't know that, it is a spiritual act. That is why the Bible says, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. You may think that it was a pastor that declared it or said it, but because both of you they have agreed as touching one thing on earth, it shall be done for you in heaven. If you tell the day you went to that shrine in your village and you took wine and gave your father declared words are spirit. Once they are released, they don't come back. The relationship becomes a spiritual relationship. The battle becomes a spiritual battle, and you see a lot of you start dreaming that altar, you start dreaming those shrines, and so on and so forth. Those are connections. Some of you have been tied emotionally and you don't even know that you've been tied emotionally. Listen to this and listen very, very well. Anytime you break covenant, you're bound to lose your peace. When you talk about somebody saying that I no longer feel love, I no longer feel this for this person, it's because they lack the peace to move on. They lack the peace to move on. So I think that spiritual people should understand that whenever you engage into a relationship with an opposite sex, it produces a kind of result in the realm of the spirit that bonds you. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't bond because they enter with the natural mind. Anytime you go with the natural mind, you end up naturally. That's why it's easy to kill that relationship. But people who connect with the spirit, they always last in relationship. They connect with the spirit. That's why a spiritual person in church connects with another spiritual person, getting to what we call agape love first. It's easy for them to enter into erotic because they have built that is
the question I want us to understand here.
Yes.
Many persons are not comfortable in relationships or marriages because, like I said, they've had the feeling that, okay, once I find this Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, from start to finish, it's going to be wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And it appears there is a wrong understanding of what love is all about.
Good.
People think that being in a relationship or in a marriage means you are swimming on a bed of roses and that everything is and there's some other things that actually should be considered if we want to engage and live I don't know, sustainably, because we can also pretend that and live happily forever.
Listen, look, it's very, very common that a lot of people don't know anything. The Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. How many people are actually educated in the act of love? You can have a PhD, but you don't. When it comes to love, you know nothing about it. You know nothing how to make a woman satisfied. Reverend Ken, do you know that a lot of people don't know that you have to keep lubricating?
Seriously.
You have to keep servicing. After time by time, you service relationship. Sure. They don't know that. So at one point in time, as they don't feel the thing moving, they say, no, I don't love you again. That's what we have heard people coming to say, I want to break this relationship because I don't feel love for this person again. I want to marry now, but another person. After the person have chopped their money and so on and so forth. They don't know that in relationship, there is servicing. Just like cars need to go to garage, everybody needs to go and service their relationships time after time, especially if you know that you people are too busy. You don't have time for each other. You can't make phone calls. You don't have time even to do text messages and all the like. There is a need for you to service your relationship time after time. Create time. Always make out time for your relationship. Always make out time for your marriage. Just like how you make time for retreats to go and seek the face of the Lord. Do that retreat with your wife. You can take your wife and go and service your wife very well somewhere else where she will not be afraid that children will hear the noise of her screaming and so on and so forth. A lot of women don't release their emotions because of what, the house is too crowded, the place is too crowded, so there is just no time for her to release that emotion. So she tightens it and her nerves are still very tight. Service your relationship and make it good. You will see a continuity. Don't think that relationship on its own will just be lubricated. Humans should do that.
Yeah, Reverend Ken, I have many persons who write me that I'm just surviving in this marriage. I've lived with this man for 2 years and we have kids. He no longer wants to see me. Everything I do actually angers him. He finds fault in almost everything I do, and vice versa. This man says that I have been with this lady for 3-4 years. I thought I loved her, she loved me, but I just discovered that we don't love each other. Do we really know what love is all about?
That is exactly what I wanted to cue in with Mr. Leo.
Yes.
Apostle talked about servicing.
Yeah.
I also want to even talk about, first of all, understanding the architecture of love.
Yes.
That is where it also starts, because many of these people who complain, one, if you want to look at it very well, infatuation pushed them into those relationships.
Yes.
Love was nowhere found in the equation. They were infatuated towards the other person. Some even eloped from home. They ran away from home, entered into it. Their father said, please wait. They say no. Their mother said no. And they defied the counsel of each and every one, and then entered into a relationship, and it did not turn out to be the heaven on earth they thought it was going to be. So when it's like that, that is the challenge many of them are going to face, and then they will want to back out. Somebody said that we have many people who are in relationships crying to be single, while many people are out there single and crying that they want to get married. This thing is supposed to be something that is a lifetime decision. When you want to take it, nothing should be done in a hurry, nothing should be done haphazardly. It is better to feel a temporary pain and then live in eternal happiness than to ignore and jump into a relationship that is going to keep you in pains all through. When you talk about love, love is not a stand-alone. It's not a system that can stand alone and survive. When you talk, for example, you want to talk about agape love, which Apostle spoke of, it is actually unconditional, but it is fueled by sacrifice. If there is no sacrifice, there is no love. We cannot talk about love without sacrifice.
Yes.
When people claim, the definition of many people think that the love their husbands have for them is to take them to Bas Naval for them to eat bar fish and the other stuff. They think that is the definition of love. They think that love is to take them to an ice cream joint and begin to feed them with ice cream. That are just some small romantic gestures.
Telenovelas now.
Yeah, those are the kind of things they watch on novelas, and then when they look at it, they begin to see, in fact, this is just so amazing. We want to talk about love here in terms of when there is a need for somebody to go beyond his elastic limit.
But the reality is, the husband that you are despising in their house, hoping that what you watch on TV is the life that these actors are living, your life may just be better than the lives that this guy, the real life that this guy.
Mr. Leo, most of them are marital dwarfs. Most of those people you are seeing doing all those things that they have nothing like they are acting. Yeah. They are acting.
Yeah, you know, and then you despise your husband or you despise your wife because
you are watching somebody. Yes, and even at times they not even on what they're watching on television, they see some couples from afar. Far off, he's always look green. When you see some people from afar, you say, "Hey, this wonderful couple." You don't even know what they're going through. You don't know how much. For example, Mr. Leo, when late Osinachi was singing everywhere, who knew that she was inside hellfire? Nobody knew until when she finally died, before information was coming out on the bear. So this issue of love, we want to talk about when somebody is sick, very sick, and then your husband sacrifices everything and is there with you. We want to talk about when you are, you know, you are pregnant and the pregnancy is even shaking you a little, and the man is there with you to encourage you, to see you through, to assist you with house chores, and not a man who, when you are in your pregnancy, there are moments you have collapsed. A lady, I spoke with a lady from Boya. She told me she was pregnant, and during her pregnancy she collapsed about 3 times, and the husband was never there all of those 3 times. She would collapse in pregnancy, and then after that, maybe the man will take her, fool her, go and do shopping and some of those other things. So people should understand what is meant by love. There is an architecture. There is a technology that defines love, which if you don't understand, they are going to fool you with small goodies, and then you will be in a relationship and think that you are actually being loved. Love is something that is deeper than these trivialities. Well, we are not denigrating or we are not undermining the place of romance in relationships. That's not what we're doing. We're simply trying to say that there is a difference between these romantic moves that people make in relationships from love in its core sense. There is something called love, which people should learn it. When you learn it and have an understanding of it, to know that love will just have to do at times with, even when you want to talk about love, you know that this is one of the most spoken about words and the most misunderstood. For example, when you talk about agape love, it has to be with it has to do with somebody, in fact, having, let's say if you have 50 francs and your neighbor, your friend needs 50 francs and you need 50 francs, you give it over to the person and stay. In fact, the biblical context of it does not even have to do with love your neighbor as yourself. That was one of the definitions. It is not the New Testament definition. You say, now you love as Christ loved. So this issue of sentiments in relationships is something that people need to understand, that when they are down, it doesn't mean the relationship is down. Your sentiments can be, you can be in a kind of mood at a certain point in time. It should not define your relationship at that particular time. At that particular moment, you can, see what you can do in order to beef up. But if you are in a relationship and when your sentiments are down, everything is down, you are moody, you are angry, you are bitter, you may only get bitter, and then maybe your spouse will be taking it at a certain point in time. The person will start thinking you are nagging. At a certain point in time, the person will be thinking you are not considerate. And when it's like that, the person will also start withdrawing, because this thing is a two-way something. Mutuality in relationships is key. If one person is committed, if one person is working and the other person folds his or her arms and stays, the other person is going to work until when he gets tired, it's going to be another ball game. Both of you are supposed to be working tooth and nail, day in, day out, and you're supposed to be seeing how there are concessions. Everything must not be your way. When you make concessions, the other person makes concessions. At least there's going to be a meeting ground, and this is how you can at least begin to beef up the sentiments. When they are trying to show that there's a downward trend in your sentiments, both of you try to see. And one thing I must say, Mr. Leo, is that there are some people who are so funny in relationships. You have a spouse who is in a kind of bad mood at a certain point in time. You say, it vex on our way, then you drive off, go and stay, come back when the person has slept. You think that you're doing good.
If you are watching the program and you want to know if your husband or wife is already falling out of love with you, just take note of this. They see a lot of your imperfections. Most of the things that you do, they get angry with it. Communication amongst the two of you diminishes, and then you develop a wandering eye. Yes, you no longer, like you said, you no longer see her like you used to. You want to see almost everything that is passing by. And then you may have fallen in love with someone else. It means you are out of love with this person. You stop thinking about the future together. You don't want to be intimate anymore. You prioritize a change, and you also feel that you are trapped in a hole. It means that once all of this are put together, you certainly are falling out of love with where you are. But there is something that we must note here, that the fact that a lady or a man is cheating on you doesn't signify that he or she loves the person she's cheating with more than you.
Good.
True.
Good.
True.
That's a concept. It's a concept that we have to analyze it in a very powerful psychological approach. Now, a lot of men marry who they love and they like at home. Then they go out for what they want that they did not see in the person they love. They marry a girl who does not know styles on bed because they know that she won't go out to look for it. Then they go out to look for styles and some other excesses. That's it. Now, most second bureau, or how do they call it in other words, they have discovered that no matter what you do, the man will never divorce that woman at home, no matter how much he complains about the woman. It's very complicated. This is very complicated.
Yeah.
He loves the wife, loves the children. So he will only get what he needs from you to satisfy his emotional drives, to satisfy your excess pornographic watch, because a lot of them can do funny things on the woman outside, but when they come to the woman in the house, they won't do it because they are like, no, I don't want her to know these things because I don't want her to go out. A lot of people are into the whole of these things. Now, don't never think that a man cheating on a wife means that he doesn't love the wife. It's a lie.
True.
Many men love their wives. The only thing is that some of these wives cannot match up with their emotional gratification, their emotional attachment, that feeling that they get. I'm saying this because this same thing happens in the churches every other day. The pastors want spiritual wives. They want prayer warriors and many other things. And now when they get married to those prayer warriors, these prayer warriors don't know the other things they really want. The prayer warriors don't really know the sex aspect and other things. So what happens? You are tempted to begin to look at these young girls in church that appear the way you like. What you were looking for this prayer warrior or this devoted woman is commitment towards ministry. But when it comes to issues that has to do with your emotions and your feelings, you were not looking a woman towards that because you did not want a woman that another man will come to after that. Most men who have slept with a woman severally don't end up getting married to those women. They don't, most. And if they finally get married, they will suspect that woman for any little thing. Even if the woman is faithful, they will suspect the woman because of what? If I can sleep with you anyhow before I marry you, it means that even in marriage, some other person can come and still sleep with you. It means you don't have integrity. Those are some of the things that a lot of people are going through today. Never be mistaken. A man may cheat 100 times or 10,000 times on the wife, but it doesn't mean that he hates the wife or doesn't love the wife. He loves the wife, but there are certain limitations that he knows that he can't get from home, so he goes out to get it. And he is not going to get it because he wants to throw away the wife. No, he's getting it because he wants to satisfy that particular thing. And if you want to go and assess and check them, they are very peaceless. They don't have peace. They don't have confidence in themselves because they are guilty. Every time they look at the wife, they're guilty. They cannot really pull on because the wife, the love they have for the wife will always be telling them that you are a cheat. You are a cheat, and that is what it is. And let me tell you something. Most good wives would never kill their feelings for their husbands because the husband cheats or because the husband went out for another woman. I am telling you this 100%. Most good wives who are looking for husbands and they know that these husbands, you are the one to form and shape them, they will never leave their husband because he cheats. They will never go and break marriage because he cheats. Most people who break their marriages because their husband cheats, you want to see it, is most of them that have been indoctrinated wrongly. They were given a wrong doctrine about marriage. They were given a wrong doctrine about life and social life. They were given a wrong doctrine. So when they leave, they discover that they have made a mistake. And then they want to come back, they discover that the husband is already having another woman. And it becomes a problem. We're seeing issues where a man will be condemned on television and be spoken about everywhere. But the wife will go on TV and say that what? My husband is not a cheat. My husband is not this. Now, you begin to say, but is it that the wife doesn't know that the husband does that? The wife knows. The wife knows. The wife understands that truly my husband in one time or the other must have fallen in this trap. But the extent to which we have gone, the length which we have gone into marriage, the extent to which we are glued in the realm of the spirit, is not the one that I will leave this boy to go in the hands of these careless girls, either because he wanted to satisfy his gratifications. They will fight for their man. How many women are out there fighting for their man? How many women are out there giving in their best to hold their man, to say, no, I know this man loves me, but there is something about him that is weak that I need to cover up. I need to play the role. I need to stand beside him. I know of situations like that where some women have become very violent, not wanting to see any other lady around their husbands. No, your husband loves you. Your husband loves you. The truth about it is that you can never stop him from relating with others and relating with people, especially people who are public figures, who can relate with different people, different women, different men at every time. Take for example, today I can't tell my wife that no, don't talk with men. I'll be making a lot of mistake, because her kind of job warrants her to talk with any man, anybody at any time of the day. Her kind of job. Sometimes you can be in the house and people will be calling and calling and calling. You will not go and say, let me check the phone, may I see now who call you, because the way you take and talk for that phone, you talk fine for the person. Because when you want to appease your customers, you talk well to them. Doesn't mean that you're going out for those people. So I call you, put yourself in order and try to think again what to do.
Yeah, Mr. Leo, I want to really laud the intervention of Apostle Esinge, but I want to give a small balance to it, because some of these unscrupulous men that are listening to us will think that we are giving a license here for people to cheat on their wives because their wives have to bear.
It's not a license. Yes.
Yeah, because some people, when you hear like that, they will say, hey, listen, you've heard what the man of God is saying. You ought to bear. You ought to bear with me. If you keep cheating on your wife, at a certain point in time, she too will get tired. And if in fact the question is usually that if the person also cheats on you, if the woman cheats on you, what are you going to do? So it's something we are supposed to just get the men to understand, that the fact that we are discouraging women from being erratic when their husbands cheat does not mean that they too are supposed to cheat, because their wives too. We have even said here on the platform that women also are entering the business very seriously. So we should make sure that the sanity of marriage is maintained and that fidelity is the norm within relationships. One of the things I've known is that many things that constitute the reasons for which conflict prevail in marriages can be more easily managed as against this infidelity issue. Yeah, if there are financial issues, we can always talk and the thing goes. If it is issues that have to do with in-laws, it is something or some other thing, it is easy for them to be handled. But when it comes to marital unfaithfulness, things, in fact, at times you see somebody who try to give in at some point in time. It's like, how come this person really cheated on me, and backs out?
Okay, and backs out. We are going to move over to the Northwest region to get the reaction from Mr. Asanji Yvette on what I read already to what she was saying. I was trying to interpret that, but let her tell us herself how to know when feelings have gone for one another.
The feelings of love you had for your spouse is no longer there. How do you know if they have completely died? First is their presence and their absence makes no difference. Whether they are present, whether they are absent, there is no difference. You don't feel it. You don't feel any emotional connection anymore. So even if they are absent, or even if they are present, it's just like their presence is just like they are absent, and so their absence also equally makes no difference. So when you start having those feelings, something shows, or it shows that the feelings have died, then you become emotionally cold towards them. that emotional connection is no longer there. You become cold. When they touch you, you don't feel it. You know, when you love somebody and when they, even just to touch you, you could have that connection, you know, that electric flow, you could feel it. But when everything has died, nothing. You don't feel anything. Then communication too doesn't flow. You can see that two people can be in one room, there is dead silence. They don't find pleasure in talking. Just like the next thing is friendship. Friendship dies. They don't find it interesting talking about themselves, talking about others, talking about any other thing. Friendship equally dies. So you see that they're just there, they're just living under one roof, but they are two different people. Then nothing you do pleases them. No matter your efforts, when that feelings have died, nothing you do pleases the other person. You bring gifts home, bring them gifts, buy them flowers, you know, nothing is still going to move them. They are not moved because those feelings are not there. Then they don't make you a priority anymore. When those feelings are no longer there, you're not prioritized. They can hang out with every other person, they can go wherever they want to go, they can do whatever they want to do. They don't put you in their list, to-do list. They do every other thing, but they don't put you in fact, you don't find yourself anywhere in whatever they are planning to do. Sex equally becomes boring. When feelings are not there, it's difficult for sex to take place. You know, what commercial sex for commercial purposes is different. Like when you're doing sex for money, there's no feelings attached. You just want to do whatever it's an activity, you just do it and then they pay your money, you go your way. But when it comes to marriage now, we have a lot of love feelings attached to sex. But when it happens that those feelings are dead, sex becomes boring. You don't find the other person even you know, they're no longer attracting to you like they used to. You just look at them now like one sister or one brother, or you know, just like any other person. Just like any other person. Okay, then like I said, friendship will not longer be there. Then you prefer to plan things with others. You prefer to talk about things, plan things with others. You don't involve them in your plans. Even if when you have good news, I think one of my quotes the other day read, if you have good news to share and your spouse is not the first person that comes to your mind, something is not right. Imagine you have good news and you want to call a friend to tell them first, or you want to call any other person, but something that concerns you, your spouse should have been the first person to jump at it, to celebrate it with you. But when you have good news and you start thinking of someone else to share that good news with, not your spouse, then you know that there is no more feelings, or there is a problem somewhere. You quickly find out that there is no commitment. Nobody gets committed to the relationship anymore. It is as it is. Whether it is working, it's working. If it's not working, nobody cares. No commitment, no disagreements, no arguments. Now, there's something about argument that I want to say. When people have consent for the marriage, you know, arguments shows that they want something better for the marriage, so they're trying to bring in their own point of view. But when it comes to the level where whatever you say, the other person is just okay with it, know that they find no reason in still trying to fix whatever is bad. They just want to let it be. So these are some of just some of the things that could make you know that the feelings are dead. So I'll be coming back now to talk about how we can get.
We are going to be coming back to you, Miss Asanji Yvette, out there to give us more into what we are discussing this evening, and how do we dictate that this guy no longer actually has my time? Because some persons may, like she says, that some persons act indifferent to your presence, but is that enough to show you that this man no longer has your time?
Yeah, Mr. Leo, you know, when you talk about sentiments, it means like there is
current that is flowing.
There is something, there is a flow. So when it is not flowing, you sense it. That is the first of things, you sense it. And then when it starts happening inside, the next thing is that it's going to translate into external lifestyle and actions. You see, the person who was very enthusiastic about spending time with you spends long hours away. The person who used to guard you, keep some little things when it's coming, no longer does that. The person who used to compliment you and appreciate you is no longer there for you. In fact, as she said, it is a very dangerous thing in a relationship where people decide not to be a checker for one another. That is to say, whatever you do, it's like anybody for himself, God for us all. You're going up, you're going down. Whether you come, in fact, there are people who maybe your spouse normally returns from work at about 5 p.m. There are some people, 8 p.m. the spouse has not returned, no communication, nothing. They don't care. When a relationship is already at that level, you know that there is something very, very, very serious that must be arrested. When sentiments begin to face a downward trend in a relationship, it is very clear. You cannot hide it. It's like pregnancy. You will struggle to see how you can maybe to mend, but when it is already protracted, as we said, the problem is not even the fact that there are moments of sentimental detachment, but when it is protracted, when it is already taking so many days, getting to weeks, getting to months, and so on, that is where the relationship is proving to be in a red zone, which must be arrested very, very seriously. When a relationship has gotten to that level, you will see that there is an animosity. Animosity begins to step in. The listening, the man or the woman shouts. The listening, there is bitterness, there is gloominess, there is, you see a joyous spouse. Especially there are some temperaments that the people are always in high spirits, like sanguines. They are always happy. They are always so joyous. When you have a wife or a husband who is a sanguine, and you see the first day the person is moody, second day moody, third day moody, it's not just about something that has just happened that you should take lightly. It's something you must work in it. You must go into the details to search out to see what exactly is happening in the home. And when you see so, the next thing can also even be transfer of aggression. You see the listening the children do, they beat up. The listening the children do, they beat up. And you see people answering calls and running away. Somebody stay in the toilet and answering calls, or chatting and deleting, all those kind of things. Those are signs that the relationship is in a
one of the partners is falling out of love.
One of them is falling out of love, but it's always this thing is always mostly successful when both of them get involved in the game. If one is falling out and the other person keeps the flame burning, there is a possibility to that you can rekindle. A charcoal, when the fireside, when you remove one charcoal from the fire, it will not burn again. But when you put the same charcoal back, it is the same thing. When the Bible says two are better than one, when they are two, when the two of them are together, when they are connected, there is a way one person's coldness can be heated up by the other person's warmth. Yeah.
Yes, but is it possible to actually fall completely out of love with a man or with a woman, and then that spark or the fire comes back sometime after? At least they reconnect.
It's happening every other day.
Successfully.
It's happening every other day. That's why people are still warning that you shouldn't go close to your ex.
Okay.
Especially if you're married. People are saying that because there's a tendency that spark, that fire that was not there, will come back someday. Now, I would want to let you know this. It may be surprising to you that love is not a feeling. Love is not a feeling, and love can never be a feeling. Yes, feeling only comes as you manifest love. Feelings come when you manifest love. Love is a world of sacrifice. Love is a world. It's a world of, it's a spiritual act. It's something that comes to you by reason of you cannot explain. That's why you see a lot of people will tell you that I can't really explain what this feeling is all about. That's why people say love don't die, meaning that your body emotion, especially those who narrow down their love based on their feelings, they may separate with their spouse only to realize later that love did not die. That particular thing, you can still go back for that woman, and you can still make a lot of other sacrifices to get back that woman. They are doing it every day. Every day people are doing it. So So some of you have even you have gone back to your ex several times. Some of you have gone back and maybe break again, gone back, break again, and then you say, I don't know, we have separated severally and we're finding ourselves back. It means say God did for back. That is how a lot of people have really narrowed down. It's because love is not a feeling. Don't always be deceiving yourself by saying that I feel for this man or the way I feel. No, love is, feeling is just a part of love. It's just something that comes as a result of the love you have for somebody. It comes like that. That's why you see someone may not be feeling, but they can go extra mile. What about these people who are emotionally bankrupt? They're emotionally bankrupt. They don't have erections and all the like, but they still have love for the person they are with. Now the person may be having a challenge because they are missing that aspect of the erotic and all those things. But the tendency is that love that governs the marriage can push this man to do so many things without necessarily having the feelings for erotic approach. Listen to this. I'm telling you this because a lot of people judge love based on their feelings. Never think that your feeling is what drives you for marriage. This is it. Love is something bigger, stronger, more deeper than any other feeling that someone can have. I'm telling you this thing. I'm telling you this thing. People have died for love. They have gone, they say, I'm giving my life for him. Some people have taken their kidney and donated kidney. Some people have donated their liver. They have donated a lot of things because for love. They said, I would die, but let him stay alive. We have seen that kind of a thing because it goes beyond the ordinary feeling you have for someone, and it goes to a life of sacrifice. What kind of sacrifice you can make for this thing? Let me make it clear to me about this kind of a thing. The kind of love I have for my wife is very strange. I don't know. It's a very strange love. There are some times where I can even be for 2 years, I don't have feelings, or that is feelings. Because my love for her has transcended a feeling kind of love. It has transcended a feeling kind of love. But because I can always call my feeling. When it comes to me, I can call my feeling. And I can also despair my feeling. Because of the challenges we have out there. Women out there can make you to go off. So if you don't know how to regulate your feelings and tell your no, now, no. Now, one of the ways that you want to satisfy your woman, especially on bed and that kind of a thing, is to learn how to put your feelings under control. While a woman is struggling to get to orgasm, the man is struggling not to get to, because you want to make the woman happy. Very strange. The woman is struggling to get to it, but the man struggles not to get to it because you know that you have a goal. That is what love is all about. But some of the men don't have love. They don't know what this love is all about. They are only struggling to satisfy themselves and to be happy. At the end of the day, whether that woman is frustrated or not, it doesn't matter to them.
Okay.
Yes.
Good evening to you all in the house. Is Fallon from Bafia. Please, I wish to ask a question here. It goes, can you love someone without any reason? That is, you just love him the way he is. And secondly, is cheating part of love? Because I know if a partner cheats, it means he or she don't love you. Okay. I'm not sure. If someone cheats on you, I'm not sure if it's because the person does not love you.
No, it's not because of that. Not because of that. It may just be he's careless at one moment, or maybe he saw something different. Especially men who are moved by what they see.
What they see.
You can see a woman with big hips, and the one you have doesn't have big hips. You love your woman who doesn't have big hips, but you like big hips too. That is an emotional thing.
And then at times just exploring.
Yes, a feel of that.
Yes, some just like exploring.
Yes.
You know.
Adventurous.
They just want to adventure.
Yes.
So like, okay, this is my, especially some people who maybe that their wife is the first person maybe they're having sexual relations with.
Yes.
They like, let me explore. How does it feel with another
does it
person?
feel?
Then some other people, it can be they are away for duty call. Some others can be the fact that maybe the woman who is complaining being cheated upon has been wearing jean trousers and collar and sleeping with, not satisfying the sexual demands of the man.
Friends too can push a man to get into something.
All of those kind of things.
Yes,
Peer pressure from the man with friends and those kind of things. Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Daisy from Bafia. The day my husband lied to me and multiple texts in his phone, and the way he addressed them is the same way he addressed me. in the house. Okay, maybe he was calling the honey.
Yeah, baby,
or darling, baby.
No.
Me
So
in
some
the
women
house.
don't like you
But
to call
when
these
I
things.
complained
Don't like to
about
share their glory with anybody.
when I complained about that, he said he had nothing to do with them. That feeling died for him, but I want my husband and that feeling back. What can I do? Help me. Okay, the feeling is gone because
Yes. The feeling is gone because you didn't, in the first place, you didn't love him. You didn't love him because love brings back feelings. That's what love can do. If you love a man, you can't trade him for another person, because another person they are calling the person another name. You begin to feel that. It means your reason for getting into relationship is very wrong in the first place. That's why any small thing your emotions goes off. That is it is your emotion that is driving you, not you driving your emotion.
And then from the at the initial stage of this program, I said something about impressions, especially our women folk. Please, we are pleading that when you develop an impression, don't make it authoritative. Don't make it a conclusion because it crossed your mind. When you have an impression, let there be a further research or a further critical analysis of the situation. Many people have dealt with their husbands because they saw a test, maybe an exchange with the opposite sex. I love you. I'm not encouraging it. Everybody, in fact, the truth is, Mr. Asanji said something which I agree just partially. As he said, there is a bit of jealousy. For me, jealousy is an integral part of love. It's an integral part. It's not just a bit of jealousy. Jealousy is an integral part. When you love somebody, there's that jealousy. You know why do people get mad when they cheat on something? The person, for example, if your wife cheated on you, did they take her vagina away and went with it? Your husband cheated on you, did they take his penis and went with it away? It is that feeling that how could I share this thing? So that jealousy is what is making you to be feeling, that you have been cheating.
Okay.
They have cheated on you. You have because you think this is mine. I have monopoly over this thing. So jealousy is an integral part of it.
Okay. It is possible to stay in a relationship without love. I stayed in one without love because I was scared of what the public would say. And believe me, if you joke with my husband, I can be very wild. Lum Chantal is writing from Melon. Okay. She did not love the man, but she stayed in the relationship because she did not want to be judged by the public.
Yes,
maybe
many people are suffering from that today.
Are you not trapped?
Yeah, for me, it will not only be the fact that she was afraid of what people will say. There will be another thing. Maybe there was some financial comfort or added to it and some other things. Do you think that a man you don't love, then you are there in poverty? Something will kick in your head one day and you say, I'm out of this.
But some people are thinking of just the shelter. If the man they pay rent.
Shelter is another thing. So I'm saying that there's a level of comfort.
Me, so I don't run massa. I don't run married.
I will go, especially some people are coming from families that are not well to do. The marriage was like a kind of poverty alleviation, kind of all of those
how many people are saying that because of my children? That's why I'm seeing that.
Exactly. So there are many things. It cannot just be that what the public will say. I think there were some other contributing factors.
Okay.
And this girl talked about, can somebody love for nothing? Can somebody love for nothing? Yes, it's true. You don't know why you love a person, but you just love the person. It goes beyond an ordinary feeling. It goes to sacrifice. You make sacrifice for people you don't know why you love them. If you want to count, some of them ask themselves question why somebody in a PhD will be marrying a girl from the village. What would he be loving there?
It's chemistry.
It's chemistry.
Chemistry.
Okay.
When the
Okay, good evening, Mr. Leo. I really love the program this evening. God bless the team. I have learned a lot. Thank you guys so much. It's Alimatu Balkisu Kiembok writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Alimatu. And good evening, sir. Please, what happened when you love your wife, but you don't have sexual feelings for her, and whenever you want to make love with her, you don't get emotional, but when you see another woman that look attractive to you, you become emotional? God bless you guys. Is this not this issue of being too familiar, too used to something, and you are not adding spice to make it different? You are just too used to it.
There are a number of factors that are responsible. One can be
Yes.
spiritual factors.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the causes can be spiritual, and then another one can be the fact that they lack that kind of sexual compatibility, and they have not known that they have not been able to maybe to have hands-on orientation of what to do. And then thirdly, it could also be that the person got it because there are some people who are, the character is there, the skills to keep a home, the culinary skills and the home management skills are there, but the physical attraction, maybe the kind of women that the man is attracted to in terms of sexual feeling is not that kind of woman.
It's not that kind of woman.
Yeah,
And
which
that
she
is
got
very
married
common.
to.
That is very common, especially those who like light women, and you finally settle with a woman that is dark in complexion.
Maybe because you impregnated her.
Yes, because of something. So you always find that cold attitude towards the person.
Yeah.
And especially some of these women who are very nagging, and then dirty.
Yeah,
Okay.
dirty.
Yes.
Okay,
Hygiene.
then you are just living and tolerating it. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and everyone in the platform. Please, I wish to know what happens in a case where the man always lets go and make peace, even when he is right, but the wife never apologizes. Raphael is writing from Douala. That one is not good. Good evening, sir. Please, what happens when you love your wife, but you don't have sexual feeling for her? Okay, I'm sure I took that already. Good evening to all. I'm Madiba from Limbe. What happens to a girlfriend who always gets mad at any moment, particularly when she asks of you for money and you don't have at the moment? Suddenly she just started snobbing at you. What can one do in such situations? Similar to the previous one, that is, this one says the lady will never apologize to you even when you do everything to make her happy. This other one says that immediately she's demanding, and once you cannot provide, she gets very angry and even snubs you.
Yes, there are women like that, especially some of them who marry just for marriage sake. They just got married because that was the available person. Some of them even abandoned their love because he was not ready for marriage, and got married to someone who was ready for marriage. That is what many people are in trouble today. So she does not love you, whether he's just doing for something that you should drive her. If you drive her now, she will happily go, and that kind of a thing.
And in particular, if I got it well, the man says girlfriend. I think
Okay,
when you talk about
girlfriend.
girlfriend, for me, that kind of person, cut from that kind of relationship.
Very
because
fast.
That is a miser. That one's Shylock. So cut from that relationship and don't get married to such a lady. Yeah, if it's somebody you are married to, we will be able to. We'll be talking about
understand,
water in
we
our
will know how
mouth.
to help you.
But this one is somebody you are not married to, and she is there. She's a gold digger. Let her go.
Okay.
And that kind of a person can even have another boy outside that is doing all this.
That kind of, I'm sure she's even taking money from you and giving to the
guy.
another guy,
Yes.
and, keeping another guy with it.
Okay. Now, in this situation, how do we do to survive? Where you have read some of the experiences that people are living. How do we fix things to survive a relationship where love is gone?
Now, survival in the cases where that particular feeling is gone, not love. Because a lot of people don't know what love is all about. Love does not have to do with the feeling. Love has to do with the sacrifice. It is that moment that love plays the best. Love plays much when that feeling is no more. I am telling you the truth. I am telling you the truth. I'm telling you exactly. For my case of my wife, I cannot play with her because there is a deep sense of responsibility I have over her, for her protection, for her defense, for every other thing. I don't play with that because that is the focus, that is the core that keeps love going. Feeling is just, I have tested all these things and I can tell you the difference. Feelings will go when pressures come, when responsibilities come, especially when house rent is involved, especially when feelings will die, especially when this woman becomes so careless and does not want to even sometimes bathe 3 times a day or 2 times a day. Just bathe in the morning, maybe sometimes it will never bathe in the morning. I will wait and bathe around 4 o'clock. He said, I want first finish, wash all thing for her and do all thing before I bathe. Those things, they kill that emotional feelings in human beings. They kill that in the opposite sex. They kill the feelings. But what you're going to do is get to a point of correcting the errors that killed the feelings.
Yeah.
Always get to the point of correcting what killed that feeling. Always ask yourself the question. And a lot of you know what killed the feeling. Just like this, our sister have said that it is because the man was calling another sweet name to another person. her own feeling loss. So you can now explain to this man and put him down and really tell him that this thing you are saying is really going deep into my blood and it's killing me. I don't want it. Don't call another person another name. I've heard people like that. So people have made those confessions. The thing is simple. Change the name. I didn't know many names. Change the name and call something different, and stop calling those people openly on some kind of things, because sometimes we call people my dear, sometimes we call people darling, just to make them feel, you know, honored and respected, not because you have some kind of feelings. But if you discover that your partner is already having a problem about that, please stop it. Stop it. If you know that your partner has a problem with cleanliness, because some people really have that problem, please work on cleanliness. Please work on. Do your best to work on cleanliness, because most women don't know that that is the earliest thing and the quickest way for a man to kill, to run away from you. That's why they go to these other girls on the streets who dress very well and rub perfume on their body, and the perfume smells very fresh, and they run away. Make your room to be good. How can you have children and the children are sleeping on the same bed with you and your husband, especially when they are not there? Then you see the patch of peace is there, urine is on the bed, and maybe, you know, some dirty. And then sometimes you don't wash your bed sheets in the space of maybe 1 week or 2 weeks. You want to wash your bed sheet every month end, and then before you want to get to that, oh my God, you need to see what is killing feelings at home. And then a woman will give birth to a child and just throw her body anyhow. Why will you throw your body? You have to still look young and fresh. That's why they are now bringing pictures and movies where women who are pregnant, they have some particular dresses they wear, they have some good ways they look, so that a man will still be, you will still be sexy in pregnancy. You could not try and say don't spit anyhow, don't drag your slippers anyhow for damn don't vex anyhow, don't call people wake up for 2 o'clock night, they ask chukuchuku beef, say they go bring that for you, can't get.
Yeah, but you are indexing women here. The men also need to look good for their
wives.
Yes,
that's what I'm coming on. Now, these things are things that people can work on. Most of these things that kill feelings, people can work on. Especially attitude problem, people can work on. You can work on it. The issue of death and whatever, people can work on it. Like, for example, my wife always comes with a comb. When anybody, it comes with a comb, because that is what turns her off, especially if my head is not combed or something like that or whatever. So I now move with a comb in the car. Wherever I'm going, I put a comb. The comb is there, so I'm getting conscious of the fact that I am going to, even my wife is there or not now, I'm already used to that. I will have to comb my hair, that kind of a thing, because that is what turns her off. It is always good to discover that thing that spoils relationship and fix it. My brother, don't claim to be too tough. That girl you see in that house can mix you up in 1 second. She can turn your gari into something else you don't even know. So when you begin to mess her up for 6 months, you are claiming you don't want to touch her, you don't want to do this, you say your feelings have gone. The day she will do one thing, your feeling will come back. One thing. You have to be very careful. You are dealing with human emotions. When a woman gets to the end of her wit, she can do something terrible that you will regret it. So stop that thing to be telling us that your feeling has gone. You don't know why you don't like this woman again. Just identify where that thing is wrong and begin to do deliberate and intentional work. Sometimes it may not take 1 day, sometimes it may not take 2 days, sometimes it may take even 3, 4, 5 months. Even Jesus was his disciples. He was with his disciples for 3.5 years. The guys did not change. Now the guy loves money, go die. So say he go sell Jesus with money. Then it is that regret that come after that. Oh, I have killed an innocent person. That is it. So please, never take those small little things, because most of them, go and check it, they are little flimsy excuses that have killed these emotional things. Little flimsy things that can be corrected and be checked, things that can be put in balance. You have just decided to go and you have hurt your relationship, hurt your marriage, and some of you, your children are getting useless and you think that is a joke. Let me tell you something. Even if for the sake of your family, please build love. And sometimes your children are watching to see the kind of emotions you express to your wife or to your husband. They react more and grow more in that knowledge than the one you taught them in the church, or the one that they see somewhere else, maybe in school or whatever. It is what you show them that they pick so seriously. That is what I'm trying to tell you. Don't be so rash and think that because the woman talks anyhow. Let me tell you something. There are many ways you can avoid talking. There are many ways you can handle the issue of talking. There are many different ways you can do it. And talk with her when she is in a good mood and when she is not in a bad mood. There are some messages that should not be passed all the time. When you discover that a particular message wants to go through and it's not going through, leave it. Don't force it. Don't be forcing things, especially when you discover that they are not in their good moods. Some people are stressed up, especially when those who are traumatized, they are under a serious trauma, and you are struggling to force knowledge to them. They will not take it. Allow them to relax, allow them to rest. Talk sense to them in one way or the other. Change the topic. Sometimes don't insist on a particular topic. If they don't want the topic, change it. You are always bringing one particular topic. Say one of the one ever talk about Mama, you need the one man talk about Mama case. You know, one man, sometimes leave your Mama case avec. Leave and focus on your house. Focus on your marriage. When your marriage is fine, I tell you, the love will push both of you to take care of your parents. That is what I will call your attention to. Because a lot of people have killed their emotions. They have killed their marriage because of what they think someone is doing that is not good. I don't talk for you to stay in the 1 year. I don't try seeing it one change. That thing does not take 1 day. Marriage is a lifetime thing. Sometimes it can take 5 years for somebody to learn a lesson. That's what marriage there. If you are not yet married, hear this thing I'm telling you now. Sometimes it may take 5 years for one character to change.
Can we build this by rather focusing on the good sides of our spouses? That is, you really feel that the love is going because of some of the things that you consider, the cheating, the texting, and but why not focus more on the positive sides of your guy or your lady and see how this love comes back?
It's very true, Nsah. That principle is a wonderful one. The issue is that there is nobody, to the best of my knowledge as of now, who has more weaknesses than strengths.
Okay.
Yes, I don't think there is anybody who is, or in fact, whose life is flooded by more weaknesses than the person has strengths. So this thing is usually that at times you take 1 or 2 weaknesses and capitalize on, and each time you see the person, that is the picture you have about the person, of which if you can really look at the positive sides, the positive attributes of that person, it is going to help you to interact with the person with a more positive mindset, which is what many people lack in their relationships, and that is what kills the sentiments in many people. You see, when you interact with somebody and the first of things, the mindset you have about that person is that this person is actually a good guy, this is a good lady, it is going to help you to overcome some of these things. The Bible even says that love covers the multitude of sins. When you love somebody, when you are actually passionate about the person's weaknesses will not be as magnified as we often make them to look like. And in this kind of relationship, the tendency is always that nagging, complaining, and acting withdrawn will never be out of the picture. When you have that kind of mindset towards your spouse, the person can do the best he or she will want to do. The person can try to make it up to you in order to live up to your expectations. All the person is doing will only be falling short of your expectation, like man sinned and fell short of the glory of God. If you keep looking at somebody, at your spouse, to be somebody who is made up of a lot of weaknesses, the person can even, in fact, the person will kill himself, and what will end up happening with the person is that it will kill the person will be discouraged. It will kill the person's motivation to keep trying to live up to your expectation. It's like a child who is doing something and you're encouraging the person to say, oh, you are doing good. When you complain about somebody and the person is trying to, act positively, the next thing you have to do is like, you can compliment the person. You were this way, and now I can see that this is the positive evolution, and you applaud the person. It is going to encourage the person to begin to do more. But when you are that kind of person, whatever the person is doing, like, okay, I'm yet to see whether it's changed. I'm sure you are doing this thing like this because you want to beg money. You want to ask money from me. You are surely behaving like this because you want to ask for sex. You are behaving like this because you want to take advantage of me one way or the other. When you behave, I'm sure you've committed a crime again. Those kind of things and statements are the things that give people the demotivation. They cause people to be demotivated from doing what they're supposed to do in order to fall in place and in order to live up to the kind of things they're supposed to do in order to please you and in order for your sentiments to be in place. What we are saying as a bottom line tonight is, as long as you don't allow your relationship to be ruled by sentiments, you're going to enjoy it. But if sentiments are at the center of that relationship, just know that you are going to lose it. Things are going to fall apart. But when you allow yourself to be ruled by love, commitment, sacrifice, and those other attributes that make for a marriage, a good and blissful marriage, you're going to enjoy it. Many people out here, in their essence, we look at them, they're not bad people. It's just that they fell into the hands of somebody who does not know how to manage them.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Many a time, Apostle, I know when you're counseling people premaritally, you always look at this temperament, a natural way of behaving. There are some temperaments that it cannot go.
It cannot go.
It cannot go.
Two people cannot work together.
There are some people that if you put two of them together, the relationship will never work. So when you try to analyze from the onset, you can there are sometimes you even advise that, look at it. Most often we may not say stop the relationship, we can say go slowly, and that is a gentle way, it's a polite way of saying that this relationship, I'm not seeing it working, because two of them are in a relationship. Every week, for example, they have fought, they have quarreled, they have separated about maybe a relationship of 6 months, they have separated about 3 times and come back. Those are things. You see, one is domineering, and then the other one does not accept to be dominated. All those kind of things, you see that those are signs, red flags that this relationship may not work, because this is their essence. This is not just about something they're going to even change from to tomorrow after tomorrow. It's their essence. This is about their natural build-up, which will not change anytime soon. And if you allow such people to go in a relationship, it will not work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening to you all, and thanks for the discussion. I'm William from Bafusam. In the case your wife is the one coming back at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., etc., in the name of party and celebration, how can you access this, please? Okay. No, she should be stopped from coming home.
Yes, she has to be stopped.
You cannot be sleeping.
That is a terrible habit which you have to call their parents' attention.
Okay.
Yes.
Good evening to all in the house. Pastor, I wish to ask, okay, Papungole writing from... Good evening to all in the house. Pastor, I wish to ask, what if my wife do not talk nicely to me in the house, but because of her nature of job, she talk on phone nicely with others? What should I do? Papungole is writing from Tomber. Okay, she's nice to others, but not nice to you.
That's what I'd like to do. It's just like a woman who goes to church late, but to her job site, she does not play with it. That is it. That's what most of us do. You can go for appointments. When you have appointment where money is going to come, you go there early. But when the one that it has to do with something that... Yeah,
but you are talking like that. You are talking like that because you're a pastor. But
I
see that most workers will tell you that they'll come to work late, but church, they have to be there. They will not be at work, but church, they have to be there. It's vice versa.
Yeah, but sometimes it's slim.
Mr. Leo, this particular case, it may not be all the ladies' problem.
Yes.
Yes. It could be also that their communication does not
flow.
It doesn't flow, which they must now master the art of how they can have a convivial.
Every husband must master the art of communication.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Husband. Yeah. And look, stop managing your spouse. Adapt to it. Managing your spouse will become a problem.
Yeah.
But when you adapt to it, it doesn't become a problem. Because of what? I have realized that I tried to change this, it cannot be changed. Let me see how to adapt to it. Okay, you see, we have just decided to stop that issue of that girl coming late into the house because of what? It can be changed. But the one that you know that this person has an attitude, a behavioral attitude when it comes to talking, you will hear some person that's what me are me, plenty people. One of the ways you would do is that you will carry out a therapy, a behavioral therapy, not by another person, you in the house. The way you also talk to the person and the way you also approach the person, because sometimes it is how you began relating with, because some women built what they call a resistance to humiliation because you treat them anyhow. So the only way they can get back to you is through talking. They don't get power for fight. Okay. They don't get power for beat you, so they go talk.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. If your wife needs sex more than you are capable of doing it, does it mean you aren't good in bed? So women are just they are not even. It's a health challenge.
It might not necessarily be a health challenge.
No,
it's libido. Libido
is high. Women are having higher libido.
The issue is that when.
But is it not risky where you cannot satisfy a wife?
No, you can learn. You can satisfy a woman without necessarily using a prick. That's the truth.
Yeah. Most often people have not known that these are things you have to go for counseling for.
Counseling.
You meet a counselor, discuss with the counselor. Let there be a clinical approach to the situation, because if you just talk on TV like this, you cannot really say anything that will adapt.
So my brother, you may not be weak. Just get to a counselor. You're writing from Bamenda. You may get to Mr. Asanji. Good, but know that the services of counselors is not for free.
It's not for free.
You are going to take their time.
But people need to upgrade. A lot of women or husbands don't want to upgrade, especially church people. They don't want to upgrade. You don't want you want to take spirit, cover things.
Good evening, Mr.
Take spirit to cover them.
Okay, they speak in tongues. Good evening, Mr. Kum, and to all the men of God. Thank you all for the insights so far. After all this said, what can be done to revive a dying or dead relationship? Dr. Nubia, okay, that's what we are doing already. Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for the program. I'm really blessed. I would like to comment on feelings in relationships, how I feel. If we start going by how we feel, some days we feel like being single. Some days we feel like we don't love our partners. Other days we feel like we made a mistake to have married this or that person. Feelings without wisdom is the #1 problem in relationships. Moses is writing from Amanda. Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm called Kemoka Lilian. I'm following your program. I wish to ask, how can one make your man love you back after cheating on him? Okay, this one says, I also wish to ask if there is a way to love a man you had poorly loved and now you want to make him feel special. How can you go about it? Just call counselors. They will give you tips on how to go about it. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and to all the panelists. It's always a wonderful time with you and your panelist, Daisy. Good evening to you out there in Kumba. Most men want God-fearing women to keep at home, and after that, still go outside looking for the one way na God the fear. Please, my greetings. Noel from
That's a serious one. Yes, then they know.
Noel from Bankolo, Yaoundé. Okay, good evening, Mr. Liu. To all the members, with respect to this issue, I develop gastritis whenever I see married men with my fellow unmarried ladies. We are the ones promoting this nonsense, but I have this question. Why should a woman take back her cheating husband easily? Why do men who cheat the most find it difficult to accept their cheating wives? Is Kate Sandra writing from Douala? I love the program, Mr. Leo. Please, when will the rebroadcast play? Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Okay, good evening to all in the house. Uncle Leo, your choice of persons this evening is fantastic. Greet the man in suit is too honest. Kudos as Auntie Martha, writing from Kumba. If the man does not love the side chick, what took him there? Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm with this guy in a relationship for 2 years now, and we have a child with this woman. He says he never planned to marry her. The woman is still coming to the house in the name we want to talk about the child. Please, should I withdraw or continue with the relationship? Advise a sister. It's Cynthia, writing from Bamenda. Okay. Cynthia, please, you need to see Mr. Asanji out there in Bamenda. She will advise you on what best to say. But let's take a listen to Mr. Asanji to tell us how to do to bring back feelings. Many persons would want to know what to do.
Talking about how to bring back those feelings in place, I will start by understanding your love language or your spouse's love language. No matter what you do, if you don't understand what makes your spouse feel loved, you're just wasting your time. Let's say, for example, your spouse is somebody that, wants acts of service as their love language. They want it. Okay, let's say a wife. I counsel a couple like that, and the wife's major problem is, if I am cooking, the baby is crying, my husband cannot even assist me with the baby. He cannot even come to the kitchen to help me with anything. So if their love language is maybe your acts of any services that you may render to them, if you like, give them all the money on earth, you are not doing anything. So love language has a lot to do with you living with somebody. If their love language is gifts, if you like, show them any other, give them all the time on earth and all the attention. If gift is not involved, they don't feel loved. So what is your love language? What is your spouse's love language? You might need to find that out. Okay. Now, we also talk about stop being too critical and too judgmental. Sometimes feelings die because we become too critical of our spouse. We judge them a lot. We concentrate on their weaknesses. We focus on what they're doing that is not right. Then we close our eyes to every other thing that they do that is good. We just forgo whatever they do that is good, and we concentrate on what is bad. Hey, look at how you're talking. Hey, look at how you're eating. In fact, their eating irritates you. Their talking irritates you. Everything about them, you are just so critical. You need to calm down, because being too critical and being judgmental is acting like you're perfect. You might need to remind yourself that you are not a perfect human being, and so you need to learn how to tolerate. You need to learn how to accommodate, the other spouse's weakness. If you remain that critical about them, there is no way you ever have feelings for them, because you always see what is not right in them. Then one of the things, you might want to take time and resolve the conflict. Conflicts unresolved leads to resentment, it leaves grudges, it kills emotions. So if you want to talk about bringing back love in place, bringing back those feelings in place, you might want to consider really having proper conflict resolution skills. They want you to understand how they felt when you did what you did. So that understanding has a role that it plays. I think that's one of the key things we do in counseling. We don't just help you find a solution to your problems, but we help you understand the gravity of what the other person felt when you did what you did. So saying I'm sorry is not just the trick to resolving conflicts, but understanding what you did, how painful it is, the kind of shame it brought. Maybe cheating, like I had a case, you cheating with the person's best friend, or cheating with the person's sister. You brought shame upon them. It's not just cheating, it's not just hurtful, it's not just painful, but it is equally a shameful act that upon all the women around, maybe you saw just their best friend to do that kind of act with. So sometimes if you don't understand the conflict, you cannot actually resolve it. Understanding has a lot to do with that. Then forgiveness. You cannot carry unforgiveness in you. It's like you've carried one heavy load on your chest. You cannot carry that kind of a load and you still want to have feelings for somebody. There's no way about it. You must learn how to forgive. If you want to feel love or have feelings of love for your spouse, you really need to, learn how to forgive. Equally, go memory lane. Remember those good days. Remember those beautiful moments you spent together. Sometimes, that's why I like pictures. Sometimes just going back, looking at pictures, you remember how this is when we started, this is how we were, this is that. When you remember those things, it can actually stir those feel good emotions in you. Okay, then talk about it, communicate about it. Nobody can understand you if you don't open up and talk. Communication is vital. Without communication, it cannot go. Communicate about it. Talk about what makes you feel loved. Talk about what you expect from your spouse. Talk about how you want the relationship to be, so that the feelings of love could continue. Talk about what is killing that feelings. Let your spouse know them, because sometimes somebody can hurt you without even knowing. Talk about it. And just to conclude, you might have to pray. If it's your feelings if it's your spouse's feelings that is dead, you might equally want to put them in prayers. Okay, or even you put yourself in prayers. Pray for yourself and pray for your relationship. That's it. Thank you, Mr. Liu. And for our viewers, please, if you want more of my knowledge, follow me on Facebook. Council.
Okay, Mrs. Asanji Yvette, thank you very much. Good evening, sir. My name is Mercy from Limbe. I'm in the relationship now for 3 years, but consistency for 9 months. I am an international business lady and well-to-do person, and I can confess that there is love between us and planning towards marriage. But anytime I make calls with business partners, it becomes a problem that I'm sleeping with them, and it has been disturbing, and it's been killing me silently for a while. Now, sir, I'm so confused if I should if I should and afraid to marry someone in expense of lack of trust, please. We both are watching you right now. Please, we really need your help and thanks. Yes, but this is also a problem. I don't know who talked about adapting to the lifestyle. Yeah, you're the one who talked about it. Yeah, this is a problem where you want to get married to a gendarme lady and want her to behave like a nurse, and you want to get married to maybe a journalist who has to be here from morning to night. And like my case, I go to the house every day, 9 p.m. And you would want me to behave like this guy who closes work at 3 or 4 and then comes to the house. And this is a big problem for men and women.
That particular case is a very sensitive one and a very big one, which must be handled very fast. If not, don't go in for marriage. Next, number two, have you been sleeping with this guy before you get married to him? Have you been sleeping with, if you have been sleeping with him, that's the cause for this suspicion, because he thinks you don't have enough respect for yourself. That's why you can just believe that you can just open your legs for every other man. Because if he just met you and you start having sex before you start planning for marriage, know that he will never trust you and he will never, because he knows that, yes, he knows that maybe that is how other men have been doing it to you. Exactly. That is the kind of a thing. And then the way you also dress and appear in public also matters, because some of these men, they really, because the question you should ask yourself is that, what really motivated this guy to come to you? What some men just want financial security. Some men just want a woman who is also working and having something to do. I'm married, my wife is a manager with a bank, and I understand very well that she's a professional. That I don't play with it, because she's not a flirt. She's not someone that you can easily lure her to bed. She's not someone that you can easily play with her mind.
Yeah, but what if this lady is also like your wife?
No, I'm talking about professionalism. That's what I'm trying to put in now. I'm trying to balance it in such a way that both of them, if this is the case, this is the reason why this person is doing this. Now, I'm putting it because these career women are always very sensitive people, that you don't come into the world and try to make it your world. It is very difficult. That is why you need counseling before you get into marry a career woman.
Exactly.
Yes, you need counseling. Because it's a very sensitive environment. Yeah. Because she will not be there all the time. She will travel. Will you follow her where she's going to? Will you go to, maybe she travels abroad and she's going for her business and that kind of a thing? Will you follow her there? If she stays around you now, she doesn't pick any of her calls. And when she goes out, she makes all those calls that maybe a missed call or some messages that were dropped. What will you do? Please back out. I'm just begging you, because don't go in for marriage because you must marry. You mustn't marry. If you know you have a complex already, you think you feel threatened already, please be careful. Don't do that, because you also know that some of these women, they may have gotten into other relationships before, and there's a tendency that they will still be talking in one way or the other with those people that they left in one way or the other. Keep your mind. If you know you are not ready for career women, I beg, don't go there, because there will be a time where she will be a no-nonsense woman, especially when you're already married. She has already achieved the marriage. When a woman has achieved marriage, because some people are just looking for marriage to achieve, it's better that you call them that they are divorced than that they are not married. That's what some women. So they are looking for every opportunity to marry. If you know that you cannot handle it, please leave it. Leave it, because it's very sensitive. Those women are very successful and useful if they believe that you are respecting them. They can be so holy, they can be so truthful, they can be so trustworthy, but when they discover that you don't believe in them, they will go off, and when they go off, you will not like them. Please get yourself and put yourself in order. Don't be this kind of a mumu man that you think is a woman that is supposed to run behind you, that you are calling people. How come you are the one running behind a woman that they are calling her? Men are supposed to be the one that you know you'll be afraid that the woman will be saying that.
And Apostle, I just want to add that that is a challenging relationship there.
Yes.
Now, two things I want to say. One, they say they have been in the relationship for
values. Why did it get to this point where it is now? And how do you correct it? Two of you have to be sincere to yourselves. If you have started maybe having secret affairs behind, these are some of the causes that will make you people to have that kind of a situation. If both of you finally discover that it's not working, then please separate.
You separate.
There can be other better relationships than that. Because if both of you is not working, it shows it's an indication that marriage will not work for you people. That is just the truth. So you don't force it. Try it. Give a try. Give a try in certain things. Especially men who don't respect your family. please, if you try it and it's not working, leave it. A man who does not respect for your family, he cannot send any gift to your family when you are not, please, no force him. That when you marry, you'll get headache.
But Apostle, we've spoken here about red flags, premarital red flags.
Yes.
And the issue is that when people are already burning with some kind of sensations, when people are burning in love, they are blind to some of these red flags.
Don't call it love. They are not burning in love. They are burning in emotions and emotional outbursts.
Infatuation.
That is a sex something.
Which when this thing blinds them, they will jump into relationships, and the next 1-2 years you start seeing this kind of regrets we're talking about here.
Good.
The advice we give people to take their time, work things out very well, and be very sure things are stable to a certain degree. It's true there will be always unforeseens, there will be impromptus, but if you can take time, work some things out. One, circumstances will reveal the identity of the person you're getting married to.
Perfect.
Two, time is also going to reveal, because when you give time its time, it's going to be over time. There's some anger that is inbuilt in some people. Nothing has come up for the person to demonstrate the real anger that the person carries. You will like, this guy is gentle, and a very gentle guy, but you've not yet known him. You've not yet seen his how far. So when these kind of things are in relationships, you are jumping into it, you know that you are taking your tools and entry into hell.
And you also have to be careful.
But the issue is we are struggling to see how people can survive such situations.
Yes.
And you guys have told them how to survive it. But at what point should we not kill ourselves because we want to survive in a relationship? Like the case was with Osinachi, where she did everything to survive this relationship.
We had said that if it is premarital, if it's not going separate, but if it has gotten to a point where people are already married, when there is abuse, when physical abuse has entered into the marriage, separation is recommended. We said separation, we have not said divorce yet.
Yes.
We have not talked about divorce, because we said the other time, if you are taking the option of divorce, you know that you are going to remain unmarried, which so we don't always want to talk about.
If you are a Christian.
Yeah, if you're a Christian, we are talking here from strictly Christian background. If it is already marriage, separation is recommended when there is physical abuse, because when you die, you can never be married when you are dead.
But that's obvious. That's obvious. It's always good that people be serious from the beginning.
Yeah.
These things also have to do with a lot of things. Have you made findings about the person you want to marry? Does that person have trust issues and all the like? And do you know that you have to be very careful how you tell the person you are engaged to your past? You have to be very careful. There are some past you will tell somebody that will kill his own feelings. Yes. For example, you tell somebody that I killed somebody. You tell somebody that I was a prostitute. You tell somebody that I will sleep with all the men that I met on the road.
I've aborted 6 times.
I've aborted 6 times. You know, the man he go try for being like a man, to try for push him. At the end of the day, that man, even if he wants to go into it, he will refer you. I've had somebody just told me this thing. He said, what I told this man about my past, and that is what the man is using every other day against me. It's a problem. If you're not married, please don't go ahead, because those are the people that will use anything you confess to them to talk and turn a lot of people. A lot of people they're not mature enough to handle information. You tell them today, or if you must tell them, be sensitive how you tell them, and what details you give to them.
I wanted to interject that if you're unveiling information about your past, it should be progressive and at a certain stage of the, because there are also things that if you cover up, they will be unveiled in a relationship and can scatter the marriage. Take for granted you are getting married to somebody, you had kids before, and then you don't indicate.
No,
take for instance, and no, it's not different, Apostle. I'm talking about a case where one guy read this is my book before you say I do, and was in a relationship with a lady that they were together. He said 2 weeks to the traditional marriage. That's when the lady was saying that she had 2 children. 2 weeks to the relationship to traditional marriage. Then we have cases in which a lady may be, for one reason or the other, for medical reasons, they removed your womb.
Yes.
You stay quiet with it. Then tomorrow now, when the child is not forthcoming, and then it's like this. There's something that happened. It's like my womb have been removed.
Those ones are excesses now, my brother.
Apostle, people
should not even try.
Conceal. People conceal. You say that people say that no. If I tell him, he's going to back out. And for the desperation of getting married, they conceal.
Good evening, Mr. Liu, and to the panel members, my dear and valued pastors. I'm Franklin from Douala. Should a pregnant girlfriend allow her clothes at your place after visiting? Good evening to you all. I really love the program. It's so educative. I have learned a lot in the various talks. My husband lacks the sense of romance at sex making. What he needs is to satisfy himself and careless about your feelings. Okay, he needs counseling. Serious. Yes. He needs serious counseling.
He needs counseling. He needs rebuke.
Okay.
To rebuke him.
How can I as a woman rebuild the feelings for my husband after noticing that he cheats? Carol is writing from Yaoundé. You just need to, Apostle Ambe says it so well, that you have to equate the gains in quitting the relationship and staying and forgetting what he did. Would you abandon a relationship you've built for so many years because your husband cheated on you?
There is something on the net right now that really caught my attention, especially today. You know, a lot of funny stories have been going on concerning one of the apostles in Nigeria. And the wife came up today, and the wife was very verbose about it. He said, my husband has never done it. I was shocked. He said, my husband has never done it. And I say, yes, that's the woman. Now, she has decided to say, even if.
I know so many information circulating on the man of God. Good. So many. Yeah.
People.
But the wife has decided to
stay on the positive.
Yes.
Because of what? She has counted the gain. She has counted the shame. She has counted the pain. She has counted what she will get if this marriage broke today, than if she stays there and stand with the husband.
Okay.
She has counted it. And she sees that there's an advantage to stay there more than when she go back and get disgrace everywhere.
Good evening, sir. Please, if your wife doesn't love sex, what can you do? Nsah from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Rita from Limbe. Wish to know if it is possible for a man who is married to 2 wives to fall out of love for both wives. Okay. A man needs prayers. He needs special prayers. Yes.
His problem is no wife.
Yes, because yes. He will get other wives and will still fall out of love with them. Good evening, Mr. Liu. When there is love, 1 minute sex can make your partner satisfied. I'm Odette writing from Kumbo. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Thanks so much for this, sir. What if you cohabit with a man you love so much without him paying your dowry, and the woman proposes that they do a civil wedding, but he refuses? What can be said of it, please? Favor is writing from Bafusam. The man is not serious. Good evening, Mr. Liu.
The man is not serious?
Yes.
No.
You are cohabiting with somebody's daughter for so long, and the daughter is pleading that you go and sign with her. You refuse?
Without going to see the parents?
I don't know. But
no,
you don't do that.
The lady too is the one pleading that it should sign. Are you a captured monkey?
Yes. How will you be doing that?
Why should you be?
It's
why should
not
be
accepted.
Yeah, but the man,
it's disrespectful to the girl's family.
Yes, the man is already showing a red flag.
But that's what I'm saying. That the man is not serious. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I have a girl who we really loved each other. At a point, we were already talking about marriage, but since we graduated from school, she doesn't have my time again. She only calls when she's in need. Please, Pastor, I need your advice. It's Mark writing from Kumba. That's a red flag.
Yes, it's a serious red flag. She has shown you that she's not serious with you.
Hi, good evening, guys. Sophia from Boya on the line. I wish to know how to adjust to the fact that your fiancé cheats on you for a while, and it got so intense that I left him for close to a year, as in we broke up and now we are back. Yet he still hasn't stopped communication with her.
So why did you come back?
Giving me so many excuses as to why he has the number, such as no one knows tomorrow. How do I get him to understand that I need him to stop communicating and everything else? Pardon the message learned. I just don't know how to express how serious it is. Because seriously, I find it hard to rekindle the feelings I had for him before the breakup. You need to talk to a counselor, please. Good evening, Mr. Kum. I wish to find out what if you have a husband who is not open to communication. He is always himself, even in sex. You will not see dialogue, but you will only feel as someone is touching you. Okay. You guys need to see a counselor, both of you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Precious from Mutengene. I'm dating a man who had a wife, but he has been taking care of me for about 2 years now, even opened me my hairdressing salon. and now asking me to give him a child. Please, I don't know what to do. I need advice, okay? He has a wife and he wants a child with you. He should, no, I don't think it's not wise. If he has a wife and wants a child with you,
but the relationship is first not good now. It's the first thing is the relationship.
Okay. Yes, because it is adultery now.
If you want to remain there, giving the child is still the same thing like he has given you saloon. Is it a good thing for him to give you saloon?
Good evening, Pastor. I'm Brown from Bafusan. Please advise me how will you do it. You love a girl and she does not love you. Just walk away, my brother. Except you really want to suffer. Yes. My name is Mervis from Boya. Good evening to everyone in the studio. Please, how do you cope with a husband who is so cold and hardly communicates at home and contributes less in addressing home issues, okay? Whether you have sex on the first day or last, a man who will respect you will always do. She should take time. Insecurity has killed many. Good evening, Mr. Liu. My wife does not like correction. The word sorry is completely absent from her. I have tried talking to and correcting her, but she doesn't listen or be conscious of her place as a wife. It's been more than 2 years and there is no sign of change. I am falling out of love. Two things, so many messages we are going to be earning very shortly, but two things that run through. Reverend, I don't know whether I should take note about that, but we can address that next week. People don't want to take corrections in the house, and most persons are saying that either the husband or the wife are too cold in the house. Yes. They are just living, and then they are just living, and then they have sex, living, have sex. There is nothing more to that.
How were they engaged before they got to marry?
That is the question.
No. You go to the village. You are here. You want a good woman. They say this and that and that. Most of these things happen.
Then it was wrong. It was wrong from the onset.
You have to learn how
you cannot.
Yeah, but so many persons are living.
We advise that you don't get into a relationship with somebody. At least that people have not done even 1 year, one and a half
a foundation.
At least.
Yes. No.
I mean.
We are going to. Okay, the poster. Let's have the poster. Okay. For Mrs. Asanji Yvette, she is organizing a singles and marriage seminar. So if you are actually those persons who have written from, but when there are so many of them, you can just get to Mrs. Asanji to be part of this seminar. She's going to be answering most of your worries expressed live, telling you how to manage them. And I'm sure you're going to meet some of these guys who have been living together for a very long time to share their secrets on how they have managed to survive the storms of marriage for so many years. So those in Bamenda who would like to attend this seminar organized by Mrs. Asanji Yvette, get in contact with her and be part of that great event. Thank you, Apostle, for coming.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo. Thank you, Reverend Kenneth, for this time for us to help a lot of people out there. Please don't forget about Maximum Momentum that is coming up on the 29th of this particular month, that is organized by Reverend Paul Lambert in Boya, Mile 17. It shall be a wonderful time. Many men of God are coming from everywhere to put Boya on fire. Maximum Momentum, the program for the season.
Okay, thank you too for coming, Reverend.
My utmost pleasure, Mr. Leo. Thanks a lot. We want to appreciate all our viewers who were right there to listen to us. I want to give special greetings to Patom, who is a man of this house. He has been connected all this evening, and I say, Baba, I greet you. Thank you, Mr. Leo. See you again next week, and we'll be glad to be here.
Okay, thank you to all for watching the program. Thank you to Eli and Desmond for production. We want to say we are immensely grateful for you guys patronizing this program. Tomorrow I'm going to be receiving Barrister Gbobalan Kongu to discuss what is happening between the announcement by Canada of talks between separatists and the government coming out yesterday evening to deny asking Canada to engage in talks between the warring factions, the groups that are fighting in the southwest and northwest region, and the government of Cameroon. Mr. Agbobala is going to be an exclusive guest on Prime Hour tomorrow. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.